Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with an amazing history video. Obviously, by the title, this is Michael the Brave. I've seen this request, quite a few times in comments throughout the last few months, and I said, why not? Let's do it, Michael the Brave. I have no idea who Michael the Brave is. Absolutely not a clue. I'm not even sure what country he's from, or I remember I don't like looking at descriptions, but when I was looking through for a photo, I see something pop out Ottoman Empire. I don't know if that's where he's from or that's who he's fighting. I have no idea. 1595. I'm not sure on this channel if we've done anything from this time period. I am not sure. But then again, 30 Years' War, I think, was 100 years after this. Yeah, I'm not sure. I really am not sure. But anyways, guys, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Definitely the unknown. This is probably more unknown than the rest of the series I've probably done when it comes to, I guess, this time period. Hannibal, I didn't really know anything about either, but throughout the Caesar series, I just throughout some comments you guys had, I kind of knew he was like the enemy of Rome, which is more than I know now. Michael, I have no idea what he's fighting for, who he's fighting for, and who his enemy is. I have no idea. So, if you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe. We're gonna have a fun time here. I think it's 5 parts, and yeah, maybe if you're lost like I am, you can learn along with me. And if you know who he is, and hope you're excited for us to learn this, because I have no idea. Obviously, he's brave. I know his name is Michael, and apparently he's brave. That's about my knowledge of him. So I'm not even sure. I have no idea. He might just be a warrior. I'm assuming he's a leader because, history, usually mostly remembers the leaders. They don't really remember single soldiers or whatever. But anyways, guys, like I said, like and subscribe, and I guess we'll jump into the video because I really have nothing else to add. Yeah, and it's a 27-minute video, so actually, a longer video. So, anyways, let's jump into this. I hope we have a pretty nice introduction of who he is. All right, 3, 2, 1.
It's the late 16th century.
I also want to point this out that this is from a History March. I've done some videos of him, most notably the Hannibal series I have done. So definitely, if you're interested in Hannibal, he's like enemy of Rome, pretty crazy, awesome dude, awesome tactics. Definitely should check out that playlist. But anyway, I just want to shout out to History March because I really do love their content, and I hope you guys too. So, but anyways, back to the story of Michael the Brave.
It's the late 16th century. After decisively defeating Safavid Persia, the Ottoman Empire turns its war machine towards Europe. Although officially at peace for nearly 3 decades, conflict has been brewing for years along the unstable Ottoman-Austrian border. Both sides keep looking for pretexts to launch frequent, large-scale raids into enemy territory. By 1591, clashes intensify along the Bosnian-Croatian border, and things finally come to a head in the summer of 1593.
All right, first thoughts, which not even a minute in. So basically, the Ottoman Empire right now against Austria, and both sides kind of want to fight the other side. So I'm getting they're both giving excuses to kind of raid and each other's land. So I guess now enough is enough. We're just gonna end up with an all-out war. My thoughts, but like I said, we're only 47 seconds in.
And things finally come to a head in the summer of 1593. The war begins on July 29th.
Okay.
But before we continue, I want to give a shout out to CuriosityStream.
Yeah,
A
shout
subscription
Curiosity
streaming
Stream. They're
service
so
of
amazing.
the videos about head over to curiositystream.com to the code HistoryMarsh when you sign up to get 30 days completely free. Although, officially, it was the Ottomans who declared war against Austria, both empires are, in fact, itching for a fight to extend their control over the Trans-Danubian and Carpathian regions.
Okay.
Numerous military operations mark the first years of the war, mainly for control over crucial fortresses along the Danube, with Ottomans maintaining firm dominance on the strategic level, poised to attack Vienna from the western Trans-Danubian sector that they firmly control. But the old Austrian capital is spared when the attack is postponed because of the death of Sultan Murad III and the ascension of Mehmed III to the throne.
Okay.
Another setback for the Ottomans is the unstable situation in the Carpathians, created by harsh economic pressures imposed by the central government. Namely, because of expensive wars with Persia and Austria, the Ottoman Empire needs vast sums to maintain its dominance in the Middle East and Europe. In addition, its army needs modernizing to keep pace with European powers. But because of the collapse of the Timar system, the expensive modernization has to be financed from the palace coffers. Consequently,
Damn.
the Ottomans impose heavy taxes in many parts of the empire, including the Carpathian principalities. For much of the 16th century, Wallachia and Moldavia, although nominally autonomous, are in reality oppressed Ottoman provinces. Their voivodes serve as mere tax officials for the Sultan. In the Ottoman legal system, such vassal states were referred to as tax farms.
Damn.
However, this higher taxation
So they reluctantly are part of like the empire, and they kind of basically the money makers. So if they're going to war, they're kind of like, hey, you guys got to pay us more. Well, right, wars are expensive stuff, man. I'm sure both sides are kind of like raising taxes. So so pretty much just a war is over land. Each side wants more land. They're hungry for more land. It's pretty simple, right? Pretty straightforward.
tax farms. However, this higher taxation isn't felt as hard in Transylvania. In the 16th century, it is the richest and most urbanized of the three principalities with a thriving manufacturing sector. Strategically, it is in the outer reaches of the empire, protected by the Carpathian Mountains and many fortified cities. Transylvanian voivodes traditionally use this strategic position to bargain for lower taxes and better.
Okay, so they bargain for lower taxes. So I just figured, whoever the emperor, whoever was, would just say, okay, we're raising taxes, and they just go out and collect basically the same tax from every single area. But apparently, certain areas have more leeway to kind of negotiate their taxes. That's interesting. And obviously, the tax farm area, I guess, they're not very rich lands. They're just, they're reluctantly part of the empire, so there's no kickback. They had, they're not friendly, really that friendly, so they're going to basically tax them whatever they want because they kind of have no choice but to pay. I don't know. And I guess, Transylvania is the richest, they have I guess area, and so they kind of have a little bit of power, say, hey, like, don't be bad to us or we might, turn against you. I don't know. I'm probably making it a lot more complicated than it is, and I don't know why I'm stopping it on the damn tax thing. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Better terms overall. In contrast, Wallachia and Moldavia are less developed. Their weaker economies are mainly structured around agriculture and cattle breeding. Furthermore, in exchange for being allowed to rule as vassals of the Sultan, their voivodes agree to tear down existing stone fortifications and are forbidden from building new ones, leaving their countries exposed to the Ottomans, who occupy fortified positions along the Danube, from where they can exert control over the two principalities impose much heavier taxes, and launch frequent, devastating Akinji raids. What's worse, Turkish populations begin settling in Wallachian territory, building communities and mosques, thereby violating the Treaty of Nicopolis that prohibits this by the vassal status of Wallachia.
Wow.
Powerless to resist, Wallachian and Moldavian nobility, in turn, oppresses their own people throughout the 16th century as they try to appease the Sultan, lest they be replaced by a pretender more capable of meeting the higher taxation quotas. Economies of the two
Are like, I would assume, like, just countries in general, when they do this, and like, you're worried that, basically your people are going to rise up against you when you're in the middle of a war, that'd be kind of like a worst thing that could happen is, oh crap, our people are turning against us, you have to pull your troops back just to control your own land. I don't know.
two Danubian principalities, higher taxation quotas. Economies of the two Danubian principalities are further strained as they are obliged to sell grain, cattle, and other produce to the Ottoman Empire at below market prices. And even this exploitation is overextended because of long and expensive wars, as well as the ongoing modernization of the army. Motivated by these harsh conditions, the three princes, Sigismund Bathory, Aaron the Tyrant, and Mihai the Brave, join the Holy League. And they promise each other to revolt on the same day, November the 13th, 1594. Of the three princes, Mihai will soon come to the fore as a military leader. Born on January 15th, 1558, Mihai is the son of the former voivode of Wallachia, Patrashko the Good, and Theodora Cantacuzino. On his father's side, he traces his roots back to Vlad Dracul, the father of Vlad the Impaler, who, in turn, is Mihai's great-great-great-uncle.
Wow, I have heard of Vlad the Impaler. Kind of Transylvania, right? He was like the king or something like that. So, I've heard of him anyways. So wow, okay, so I kind of basically answered my own question there because I did kind of turn against them and are going against them now. So I guess I should wait to see. But here we have Michael the Brave being introduced right now.
Paler, who in turn is Mihai's great-great-great-uncle. And through his grandmother, he is the great-great-grandson of Stefan the Great of Moldavia. On his mother's side, he belongs to the Byzantine Cantacuzino family. The prestigious family claims descendancy from the Byzantine Emperor John VI Cantacuzinus. Little is known about Mihai's upbringing, but in his 20s, he became one of the wealthiest people in Wallachian history, holding vast estates in Oltenia, personally owning more than 200 villages. He marries a wealthy Oltenian widow with whom he has one, possibly two sons, and a daughter. By the age of 35, he rises to political prominence, occupying several honourable positions in the state before eventually becoming the Ban of Craiova in 1593. Fearing Mihai's growing power, Prince Alexander III forces him to swear in front of other boyars that he is not of princely descent. By publicly humiliating Mihai like this, Alexander hopes to remove him as a potential rival to the throne. This, however, does not settle the issue. Mihai borrows from Turkish moneylenders in Wallachia and flees the country, fearing assassination. He travels to Constantinople, where he uses his political connections, but more importantly, his Cantacuzino ancestry, to secure even larger loans and persuade the Sultan to back him in his bid to the Wallachian throne. But Mihai has no intention of paying off his debts. Upon returning, he uses the borrowed money to gain support from the boyars and is elected Prince of Wallachia on October 11, 1593.
Okay.
Confronted with harsh terms imposed by the Ottomans, he makes a clean break with the past. Intent on taking Wallachia in a new direction, he will make a series of controversial decisions, for which he will be remembered as a heroic leader by some and as a treacherous tyrant by others. He replaces high-ranking officials with loyal supporters, mainly from his power base in Oltenia. And, after nearly 70 years of princes and boyars who were compliant towards the Ottomans, Mihai's Wallachia will fight for its independence.
Okay.
The Holy League promises to support the Wallachian revolt, knowing that it could open a second front against the Ottomans. So, with his position at home consolidated and the alliances in place, Mihai decides it's time to act. Pretending he wishes to settle financial debts, he invites Turkish creditors and, in an act of clear provocation, massacres them, together with their large escort of soldiers.
Wow.
With around 8,000 troops at his disposal, Mihai then personally leads a swift attack on the key Danube crossing at Giurgiu. The town is taken and plundered, but the siege of the island fortress guarding the river crossing fails, as troops, ammunition and provisions are sent from the Ottoman side. Mihai returns to Bucharest after learning from his spies that a conspiracy against him is launched by adherents to the Turks, accompanied by a contingent of troops. He sets up an ambush for them, capturing and executing all of the conspirators.
Wow.
Determined to prevent similar future inroads into Wallachia, Mihai marches east, intent on clearing bridges and Ottoman garrisons on either side of the Danube. He successfully besieges important Ottoman fortifications and raids numerous towns and villages in the lower Danube area, leaving utter destruction in his wake, before returning back across the river. Further upstream, Mihai defeats the Ottomans again and takes the fortified town of Silistra, before reducing it to ashes, along with the surrounding countryside.
Damn.
Destruction of important border fortifications in quick succession causes great concern in Constantinople. The Sultan dispatches an army from the south under Mustafa Pasha and redirects a strong Tatar contingent from the Hungarian front to enter Wallachia from the west. The Tatars advance quickly.
I mean, I guess it's the best time for Michael the Brave to kind of do this. I mean, Ottoman Empire's in the middle of a war. You just got a ton of money. You just kind of like scammed, lied. He has a ton of money, and I'm guessing he wants power. He wants to kind of grow his own kind of a empire, and yeah, here we go, guys. It's just the beginning.
Quickly toward the reported position of the Wallachian army. Little do they know that Mihai received word of their movement. He
Mihai.
secretly sends a small force west to set up an ambush while maintaining an appearance that his entire army is encamped just north of Giurgiu. Expecting to encounter Mihai further east, the Tatars fall straight into a trap while marching in a loose formation, losing nearly half of their troops. Mihai subsequently intercepts them and wipes out their army, preventing them from linking up with Ottoman forces approaching from the south. Meanwhile, Mustafa Pasha crosses the Danube to confront the Wallachian prince. Aware of the enemy's numerical superiority, Mihai reacts quickly. Just 4 days after defeating the Tatars, he leads a daring night attack into the Ottoman camp and routs Mustafa's army, forcing them into a disorganized retreat. He defeats the Ottomans in a pitched battle, killing General Mustafa. Mihai then...
Yeah, I guess battles at night, like back then, no nighttime goggles, and I guess you just had to use, the moonlight, and that had to be like very complicated to kind of organize without letting, people hearing you and using torches, and just in the dark, trying to battle like another army, just trying not to kill your own guys, because if you're fighting, you won't be able to, it's dark, you're not gonna be able to see nothing. So yeah, that had to be extremely complicated stuff. But man, he's kicking butt right now. He got his spies set up. He basically knew before he knew it was coming to him, and he knew he had to be prepared. So like, this is a well thought through by him. So wow. And now he's just beat a bigger army than his. Does he march on Constantinople? Like, is that going to be a thing here? But dang, man, ruthless, man. Mihai, I guess that's how it's Michael the Brave, but I guess that his name, that's how his name's Mihai, I guess. I don't know.
The Ottomans in a pitched battle, killing General Mustafa. Mihai then embarks on a campaign of pillage and destruction. Wallachian troops show no mercy, storming several fortified cities, leaving countless towns and villages in ruins, with the civilian population suffering the most. Another Ottoman general, Hasan Pasha, takes over Mustafa's retreating army and attaches it to his own contingent. Mihai gives battle and completely destroys Hassan's army, killing the Ottoman general, along with the Crimean Khan's son that was accompanying him.
I'm just guessing Mihai is just like, I'm just on another level, when it comes to, it's kind of like, if you had like Hannibal or Caesar going against like some kind of new general, that's kind of what happened there. It's like there's just too much experience and all that stuff, just the smarts, and unless someone else that comes around that's kind of close to his kind of smarts, he's probably just going to wipe through everybody just with tactics. I mean, we don't really see his tactics. We see him, okay, haven't really seen it. We haven't seen any kind of battles yet, like how he does his battles. So we just know he's overpowering him or outsmarting him, So, anyways.
Mihai then retreats back to Wallachia with a vast plunder. He comes to the aid of Aaron the Tyrant in attacking Brela, Kilia, and other Ottoman positions. With the lower Danube area and the Danube Delta secured, supply lines to the Ottoman army in Hungary are virtually cut, which significantly slows their otherwise successful campaign against the Holy League. Mihai renews his attack, devastating parts.
The Holy League ends up being the Holy Roman Empire? Am I right?
Against the Holy League. Mihai renews his attack, devastating parts of northern Bulgaria, pushing deep into Ottoman territory. At one point, he reaches within one day's march from Constantinople itself, before turning back after assistance from the Holy League fails to materialize. Many in the Ottoman capital begin referring to Mihai as king and even emperor, spreading rumors that he might take the capital at any moment. In order to tackle possible dissent, Ottoman authorities in Constantinople respond by expelling any non-Muslims who lived in the city for less than 5 years. Mihai's fame spreads across the continent. Many warriors, sellswords and mercenary companies flock to join him. Ottoman scholar Selanik Mustafa writes of the Great Destruction. All of our sanjaks are captured. We are ruined. The urgency of the situation is such that Sinan Pasha himself, the great mastermind behind the successful campaign against the Austrians, is recalled from Hungary to organize a counterattack on Wallachia. But Mihai has reasons to worry. While his campaign was certainly successful, having personally led his troops in battle, he saw firsthand that the Wallachian army is obsolete and in a deplorable state. Aside from contingents of Cossacks and Sekeli mercenaries, Wallachian troops are poorly equipped. There is a general shortage of horses, weapons, carriages, tents, and even food supplies, water and fodder. Furthermore, there is a problem with discipline and basic training among the troops. At night, passwords would be called out loud in the camps. Wallachian troops would view foreign mercenaries with suspicion, sometimes encamping separately and refusing to cooperate with them. Mihai realizes that he needs a professional army of mercenaries.
Yeah, it's like he has basically a mob. They're not like very disciplined. He doesn't have the weapons or the armor. So he's smart enough to realize that, hey, if he goes against this big army with this experienced general who's been on the front, it doesn't look good for him. So, I think a lot of great leaders, they realize when they don't have the upper hand and when they need more. They don't just like have this like God mentality, like no one could beat me, it doesn't matter what I do, So it really shows, I guess a good leader, that when you can, when you're aware of those kind of things. So I guess he's gonna, they say something about mercenaries.
Mihai realizes that he needs a professional army of mercenaries if he is to have any chance at stopping the efficient Ottoman war machine. But paying salaries for thousands of mercenaries and equipping them with firearms is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive that the entire state of Wallachia cannot afford it. Nevertheless, Mihai puts his already weak Wallachian economy under stress in order to secure the necessary funding. He imposes much higher taxes on his subjects than the Ottomans did previously.
Wow.
In addition, he introduces a law that ties peasants to their landlords' estates in an attempt to avoid financial instability, thus effectively enforcing servitude upon his people. He takes away the liberties of countless free villages, turning them into dependent communities.
Wow.
Some communities attempt to buy their freedom and, ironically, the constant need for funds to pay for his mercenary army forces Mihai to accept the bribes, thereby invalidating his own laws. Needless to say, the high taxes, oppressive laws, and corruption quickly make him very unpopular.
Yeah, like he's gotta be careful that he doesn't make the same mistakes as like the Ottomans did, because there could be an uprising against him, when another leader might take form, and yeah, he's gotta be careful, man.
Oppressive laws and corruption quickly make him very unpopular. But Mihai considers these measures necessary. Furthermore, he expands the alliance with Sigismund, effectively becoming his vassal in exchange for substantial military support. The terms imposed by Sigismund are much worse than those Wallachia had with the Ottomans before the war. Mihai's reasoning is that he needs military support now, and he would have agreed to any terms. With his numbers bolstered.
So basically, he's just gonna agree to his terms, but in reality, he's just using his army for now, and then once he gets what he wants, he's just gonna turn against them. That's pretty much what they're saying.
To around 15,000 terms. With his numbers bolstered to around 15,000, Mihai takes up position on the Danube. Across the river, the Ottomans are amassing 100,000 combat and non-combat troops intent on fully incorporating Wallachia into the empire.
Wow.
Operations to cross the river begin in July, but Mihai's guerrilla tactics delay their advance by a whole month before he is forced to retreat when Ottomans manage to establish a bridgehead. Mihai stops his army and makes a stand near Calugareni.
Here we go. Name of the video. Finally.
It's early morning. Mihai's camp is in a narrow valley, less than 2 kilometers wide. Hills and thick forests surround the Wallachian position on 2 sides. Numerous streams flow down into the Nyajlov River, forming a largely impassable swamp. A single road goes across a bridge through the swamp, connecting Giurgiu and Bucharest. Knowing that the Wallachian army is somewhere in the valley, Sinan dispatches scouts to find fords across the swamp and stops his column so the rest of his troops can catch up. The aggressive Mihai goes on the offensive, wanting to engage the Ottomans while only a part of their army is present. Sinan shores up his ranks and readies the men, just in time. The momentum of the charge initially pushes the Ottoman line back, but Mihai surprisingly begins a fighting retreat towards the bridge soon after. He keeps the Ottomans committed, giving more and more ground, forcing Sinan to send more troops to prevent the vanguard from being separated from the rest of the army. The retreat slows at a choke point near the bridge. Mihai's mercenaries inflict heavy losses on the enemy while they continue to pull back across the river, but the Ottoman vanguard is just as eager to press the advantage. As Sinan himself comes closer to the bridge, the Wallachian army on the other side comes into view. The enemy lured him into an ambush. Mihai's cannons open fire from the other side of the river. Ottoman troops are forced to march across the field under a constant barrage, while the vanguard's advance grounds to a crawl as they too are being bombarded. Seeing that some of his men are wavering, Sinan personally rallies the troops. With their general urging them forward, the Ottomans push the enemy back. Mihai responds by ordering more troops to descend on the crossing to hold the line. The deafening noise of the fighting drowns out orders from captains on either side. Meanwhile, Sinan's scouts return with good news. The way through the swamp is treacherous, but possible. The Ottoman general seizes the opportunity to envelop the enemy. He sends one contingent south of the bridge and orders another to find a way through the swamp and attack Mihai's right flank. At the bridge, sparring between the two armies continues, as neither side is able to break the stalemate. Mihai receives reports that an Ottoman contingent is attempting an encirclement from the south. Aware that he doesn't have the numbers to fight an open battle, Mihai reforms his left flank. He fires all of his cannons towards the approaching Ottoman cavalry. With a Wallachian line supported by artillery, Sinan's right wing abandons the attack while under heavy bombardment. At the bridge, the fighting also dies down as the exhausted troops disengage to catch their breath. Meanwhile, the Ottoman left wing is unable to find a way through the dense swamp. Around noon, Sinan launches a full-scale offensive, ordering Janissaries to attack the bridge and both flanks to envelop the enemy.
Damn, I mean, Mihai has less. He has less men, so he kind of has to hold that bridge to stop, from being circled here. I wonder. So somebody's got to give here because it looks like the enemy's about to come back around him. I mean, I guess they're going to hold him off here. It seems like that's all you can do. I'm not sure what casualties right now. If it's they're all the same or. Or maybe Michael is, Mihai is winning right now, but it just seems like he's holding him off. I don't see, don't really mention anything, big loss of troops or anything. So I feel like something's got to give here. Mosquito cream. Yeah, you go through the swamps, man. That's rough.
To attack the bridge and both flanks to envelop the enemy. Initially, it seems like the fighting near the bridge will be a repeat of the stalemate from earlier in the day, but Sinan orders trees to be cut down and placed over the swampy river around the bridge. Janissaries take advantage of the wider crossing and gain the upper hand. Meanwhile, some of the Ottoman artillery finally catches up. Sinan orders most of the artillery to support his cavalry on the right flank. Another 2 hours of fighting pass.
Wow.
Exhausted, the Wallachian line is on the verge of collapse. Fearing a rout, Mihai orders an organized retreat, abandoning 10 of his cannons to the enemy. The Ottomans soon give up their pursuit, as their troops are just as exhausted after fighting for hours in the midday summer heat. The afternoon wears on, and a thick fog descends on the valley. Sinan proceeds to send troops across the river. Mihai knows he must act. A few hours later, he orders a general attack, realizing that if the entire Ottoman army crosses, he will have no chance of defeating them. He puts his best troops in the front, sends a contingent of mounted scouts through the woods on his left, and places the reserves in the second line, positioning most of them on his right flank, anticipating an Ottoman envelopment from the west. Sinan is at first unable to see the enemy approaching, but news of the attack soon reaches him. Out from the fog come Mihai's first line of mercenaries. In a sustained attack, the Wallachians try to push the Ottomans back towards the bridge, but Sinan's troops prove their mettle and manage to hold the line. Aware that it is only a matter of time before the momentum of the Wallachian attack withers away, Mihai puts his life on the line, attempting to reinvigorate the men. He gathers his personal retinue and charges to the forefront of the fighting, throwing himself into the enemy line, cutting down several Janissaries in a matter of seconds. This brave act has an immediate impact on the morale of his troops. The Wallachian army pushes forward, as if under a spell. Albert Kirai positions the 2 cannons under his command and fires at the Ottoman soldiers near the bridge. To the east, having weaved their way through the woods they know well, Mihai's scouts finally emerge and charge the enemy's right flank. For the first time, the Ottomans are on the back foot.
Wow.
Seeing that his men are losing heart, Sinan personally rides across the bridge to rally his men. His presence slows the Wallachian advance, but not before Mihai manages to recapture his 10 cannons.
Oh,
A
damn.
barrage is unleashed on the mass of Ottoman soldiers at almost point-blank range. Meanwhile, Kirai fires his cannons at the Ottoman right flank. Pressed against the Janissaries and taking heavy losses, Sinan's cavalry on the right routs, with Mihai's scouts pursuing them across the river. Sinan joins the fighting
Damn.
himself and orders an all-out charge. Ottoman troops rally around their brave general. An intense battle ensues, as neither side is willing to give in. In the melee, Sinan...
I'm just thinking, all I'm thinking is that this is basically, it seems like a stalemate right now, because the Ottomans still have them outnumbered. Only thing I can see right now happening is the Ottoman general dies. Like that's, I feel like that's the only way that can really stop. Basically, we know that Michael the Brave's not dying. This is a 5-part series, so that's what's running through my head. Like the the other general has to die, and then the morale of the Ottomans, they'll be falling back because be leaderless. So that's what I'm looking at right now, because man, this has been like a hell of a battle here, man. They're just pounding at each other, and neither side giving up like a whole lot of a lot of land here. So let's see what goes down.
ensues, as neither side is willing to give in.
Exactly.
In the melee, Sinan is thrown from his horse into the muddy river. His troops panic, believing that their general perished in battle. Some take flight across the bridge, while others risk wading through the dangerous swamp, desperate to cross the river. Amidst the chaotic fighting, it is some time before Sinan is helped back onto his horse. He reprimands his men for running away, hurling insults at them, demanding that they stand and fight. But it is too late.
Yeah.
What little troops remain committed won't be able to check the Wallachian advance. He orders a general retreat. Mihai doesn't give chase, still threatens.
And basically called it though. He got thrown from his horse, and they thought he was dead. And but once he got back up, it was too late. He had too much of his men retreated. So I pretty much called that one. He didn't die though, so he gets to live to fight another day. So I'm assuming, Anyways, let's finish this battle right here.
He orders a general retreat. Mihai doesn't give chase, still threatened by the Ottoman left flank. But before the day ends, they too will be routed from the field. The battle lasted for about 16 hours. Wallachian losses are fairly light. Of the 15,000 troops under his command, Mihai lost about 1,000 men,
Not bad.
most of whom fell in the final charge. Meanwhile, Sinan wasn't able to bring his full force to bear, and of the 30 to 40,000 troops that participated in the battle, between 10 and 15,000 perished. 4 pashas and 7 Sanjak begs fell in battle.
Wow.
Much of the artillery and treasure from the camp were lost to the enemy.
Wow.
But Mihai didn't enjoy his victory for long. Vastly outnumbered, he realizes that he cannot continue a full-scale war against the Ottomans. And, on the very night after the battle, he retreats north into the mountains, where he waits for reinforcements from Sigismund and the Holy League.
Damn.
Meanwhile, Sinan marches further into Wallachia. He occupies Bucharest, Târgoviște, and other major cities, and begins instating the full apparatus of the Ottoman administration, preparing Wallachia for annexation into the empire. But the story doesn't end here.
The story. I like that.
If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support would really help our channel.
All right, I'm gonna go 'Cause I remember from, like, I think it was the Hannibal episode, you know, these some contemporaries claim that the, I can't pronounce this, World Chain Army captured the green banner of Prophet Muhammad. This is incorrect. Accounts vary on how the battle started. Mihai either skirmished like he showed in this video, or ambushed the Ottoman vanguard, prompting Sinan to send more troops. Well, I guess we'll never know. Of the 100,000 Ottoman troops that entered Wallachia, 50 to 60,000 were combat troops. Between 30 and 40,000 took part in the battle. Okay, he didn't use all his troops because he didn't get to use all his troops because, you know, they couldn't cross the bridge. They were just stopping them. I like how they go. The story does not end here, you know, as if it was fiction or something, you know. But I guess it's kind of like, you know, you're following a character, and it's, you know, it's like kind of like a movie or, you know, a TV series. Well, I guess it's kind of a series, but yeah, that was definitely interesting. I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know, I guess, countries involved. But yeah, basically he was rising up, and I guess now he's retreated. He knew, like, he barely won that one, and that was a lot of that was a little bit of that was luck that, you know, that the other guy got thrown off his horse, and he just had, you know, he was just being very tactical, you know, and using that bridge to his advantage. And he knew, like, he couldn't fight another day, especially on, like, more even ground. Like, there was no way he could have came on top because, you know, the Ottomans had really you know, experienced troops, you know, and everything. And yeah, his best bet was just to retreat and, you know, get some more troops from his allies up there. And I'm assuming he's going to get his troops and then maybe march down and find another favorable position to fight the Ottomans again. I'm not sure. I mean, Ottomans, did they just, like, leave the front over there because they were trying to take over Austria? Did they just leave the front and they're not fighting over there anymore? Or they just put that on hold? I'm not sure. But well, I guess that's why I call him Michael the Brave. I mean, they were about to lose, and he's jumped up there on the front and started slashing and hacking and killing guys themselves to show his troops, hey, we need to win. There's no backing down. We say now or never. And he went up there and he showed them, that's where he got his name from, or should I expect some more, you know, bravery like that in the future battles since we got 4 more parts to go? I don't know. I'm assuming that's how he got it. He obviously brave from that first one. I'm very interested to see if he does this more in the series. Obviously, we'll find out. But just from today, yeah, definitely very cool. You know, I don't really haven't done anything from, I guess, the Ottoman Empire. So this is, I just, you know, a different part. I mean, we've done, like, that area. We've done the Crusades, kind of going through that area, you know, and stuff like that. And this is obviously a different time period and all that stuff that I know nothing really about. So they're definitely cool. And then another breath of fresh air, just jumping from these different time periods to, you know, different groups of people. So yeah, definitely awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing some more. Hope you guys are too. Hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, we'll continue on with Michael the Brave. Yeah, like and subscribe, guys. Please do. That helps me out a lot. And yeah, I'll definitely catch you guys in future videos and all that fun stuff. Anyways, guys, peace. You guys have a great night. Love you guys. And yeah, have a good day.